strategy, growth, excellence. Welcome to What's Next, the podcast where we explore life's pivotal moments and the decisions that shape our next chapters. I'm the Chief Librarian, your host. Each week, I sit down with inspiring individuals who dare to shift gears, whether in their careers, relationships, or personal growth. Together, we'll uncover their stories, challenges, and lessons to inspire your own journey. So are you ready to find out what's next? Let's dive in. Hi, Makia.
Hi, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on the first episode of What's Next and to the opportunity to interview you.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Would it be a thing?
Right. So, in this episode of What's Next, I get to sit in the chair that you'll be in going forward, and I get to ask all of the questions that you'll be asking people in the weeks to come.
Mhm.
I'm super excited.
I am too.
I'm interested to learn new things about you that I may not know.
There's always something. I'm an onion. You're going to peel this back. Serious.
And we're going to go into some layers. Some things will be super simple and some things may not be, but we'll see.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So, why what's next?
Why not? What's next? Um, I mean, I am a native New Yorker. I mean, if you can't hear it, I don't think I have to explain it to people.
Mm-hmm.
But Bronx born, Harlem raised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from I feel like humble beginnings. Grew up in a household with my mom and my dad. My mom was a social worker. My
Mm-hmm.
dad a correction officer.
Mm-hmm.
Four daughters is what they had. Carol's daughters and Johnny D daughters. But we were really Carol's daughters. So that was before the Carol's daughter. We were the original. Um, we've learned so much. Like our parents were devoted servants, public servants,
Yeah.
social work. My mother worked with mental health clients, people who were addicted to drugs, and people who really needed help. And she did so every day with grace. She
Mm-hmm.
was fly. She was no nonsense. She didn't play,
Yeah.
but she loved what she did.
Mm-hmm.
So watching that growing up, it kind of I didn't realize how much she set the tone for what's next through my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same with my dad. My dad, listen, if we thought my mom was no joke, Johnny D, quiet, cool. He doesn't speak much, but when he speaks, we listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, growing up there, they were focused on their girls had to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything about the world. It was about what their expectation of us was,
Mm-hmm.
and that we had to do it for ourselves.
Okay. Okay. So, growing up in New York City with parents dedicated to social work and corrections, how did their professions influence your perspective on leadership and community service? So, you said that education was important, but what else? Like, what else did you learn?
Oh, my work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
So getting up and going to school. So that whole, oh, you don't feel well, you have a tummy ache,
Mm-hmm.
didn't exist when we were growing up. We knew work ethic. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you were sick, took care of you.
Mm-hmm.
But you thought you were sick and you didn't feel well, there was no option to stay home and relax. Okay? So we get up, we go, we push through.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, I mean, they had to work overnights. My mom and my dad at one time were switching what their hours were. My mother worked in a social in a group home
Mm-hmm.
so that my dad can do what he needed to do. They sacrificed
Mm-hmm.
a lot, not just for us, but for themselves. Like
Yeah.
not even being together as a couple,
Yeah.
for some hours because they wanted to make sure that there was always someone there for us when we got home.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's work ethic came from
Mm-hmm.
getting up, going to school, making sure we were prepared.
Mm-hmm.
That homework was done. Those clothes were laid out. They were ironed. Oh my! And my dad can press some clothes. To this day, I cannot stand ironing.
What is? What did they teach you about leadership?
They taught me that leadership comes from within. My mom and my dad were hard workers.
Mhm.
They were more so focused on what they did. My dad was more cool and chill. My mom was the go-getter.
Okay.
So my mom would go to work and she would make sure in every role that she had, she was a lead.
Okay.
She was the go-to person. She was the people. Where's Carol? Where's Carol? Is Miss Austin in yet? They were looking for her. She knew her craft. She knew it well. She didn't step on toes. She was straightforward about her business. And I'll just watch that growing up.
Yeah.
I'll never forget a time where I was little, maybe about 7 or 8, and we were walking down the street in Harlem, and my mom worked in East Harlem, and there was a gentleman, and he was nodding off, and she was like, "Hey, Jose," and I looked. I said, "Mom, why are you talking to him?" My mom has her Nefertiti hat and this long coat, and she's gliding, and she looked at me. Her head whipped so fast. I said, "Well, I thought her head was gonna fall off her neck," and she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Why are you talking to him? Look at him. He can barely." She said, "Oh no, we don't do that. That is not what we do. We don't know his story, and that is a person. That's what I see."
Yeah.
And that shaped me who I was. I said, "Oh, okay, so that's what we do."
Yeah.
So now when you walk in the street with me, you don't want to actually,
Yeah.
because I'm talking to the janitor, I'm talking to the homeless gentleman. "Hey, Mr. Walter,
Right.
how you doing today? Did you eat?"
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the CEO the same. "Hey, how you feeling today?" Like a person.
Yeah.
But I learned that from my mom, telling me not to judge someone based on appearance.
Yeah. So as far as leadership goes, it seems like she taught you the highest level of humanity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, another thing you touched on just now is that growing up in a two-parent home, right? Mom around, dad around, um, we often think that we learn leadership from the father figure
Right.
or the male figure.
Right.
And to hear that your mom took the lead role in all of the roles that she played in her life, I want to touch on some of the roles that you play in your life.
Yes, all of them. Do we have time?
Let's talk about the top 5 roles.
Okay.
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 And if you miss one that I want to talk about, we'll talk about the top 6.
I got it. I'm right here with you.
All right, cool.
But the one role that I play the lead in is being a mom. Being a mom to a dynamic 15-year-old girl who is so spoiled and her heart is so big and she's so determined and she's so precocious, even at this big age. And I love her with all of my heart. And I love who she is.
Yeah.
I love her just the way she is. I love how she shows up. I love how she loves on herself. Because at 15, I didn't love on myself the same way that I watched this young lady show up. So I am a mother. I am the chief of public services for the DC Public Library. So I do in my day-to-day, in my 9 to 5, so to say, and I have to do air quotes because there is no 9 to 5. But my day job, I am a C-suite administrator in DC, which to me, to this moment, I'm still shocked, but not because of the leadership. It's because I've always tried to lead from behind.
Yeah.
That's the type of leader that I am. And every time that the more I try to sink back, the more I'm pushed forward. And so that's the second. I'm also the chief librarian. I am the chief librarian of Excellence Established, the CEO and principal of my own business, which I totally love. And that is something that I never imagined being a business owner. You know, someone who watched my parents, a social worker and a correction officer growing up, I didn't know anything about having a business, about being the principal, a CEO, the founder of something. And so I'm just so thankful to have that opportunity. And my sisters will probably disagree with this, but I'm the leader of Carol's daughters. No, I'm not. We take turns.
Okay.
But that is one of my roles.
But you're a sister.
I
a
am a
role.
sister.
Yeah.
I am a sister, and I, love the relationship that we have.
Yeah.
And we do take turns with that. So I love that when there are times when I can't show up, we show up for each other. I'm a friend. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't, and when I tell you friend,
Mm-hmm.
my friends are not friends. I don't take that word lightly.
Yeah.
My friends are family.
Mm-hmm.
And you know this.
Mm-hmm.
Your sons are my nephews,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean it with every being in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
If they need me, they know they can reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of friend I
That was
am.
actually the role I was like, if it doesn't hit number five, we'll talk about number
Yeah,
six. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, of course, a daughter. I love my dad. My dad will be 80 years old in July.
Congratulations.
Pop Pop is what I call him.
That is amazing.
And to this day, I still listen to everything he says. He think I don't,
Yeah,
but I hear him.
yeah. That is a blessing to have your dad around until 80. That is a blessing.
Absolutely.
So, roles. Mom.
Yes.
Um, I want to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Okay.
So, Taylor,
Yes.
one of my favorites. Also, consider myself an auntie to her as
Mm-hmm.
well. Love her deeply. So, when thinking about how loving she is and caring she is to herself, and how you couldn't relate to
Mm-hmm.
that, what do you think has changed in you that's allowed that to develop in her?
I mean, what's changed in me is loving myself out loud,
Mm-hmm.
loving myself with the joy, the peace, the healing that I have worked on,
Yeah,
especially since her being a preteen.
yeah.
I was determined. I grieved. My mom passed away when I was 29.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 46 currently. And
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's like, oh, I'm not going to tell my age. No, I'm 46.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I'll be 47 in May, Taurus season. Um, and I lost myself for a very long time.
Yeah.
I grieved. I didn't even know I was grieving.
Mm-hmm.
I was angry. I was
Yeah.
frustrated. I
Yeah.
was annoyed. I was hostile. I didn't understand,
Yeah.
but I still pushed.
Mm-hmm.
I still persevered.
Yeah.
And, I made some decisions that I might have not made if I wasn't grieving.
Yeah.
But the best decision I made was creating my baby girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just showed her through. Well, the thing is, I can't even say it showed her through challenges because this child lives a soft life,
Uh-huh. Very
a
soft.
very soft life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, oh, where are we going for vacation this year? What? We're not going on vacation? What does that look like?
Very, very soft.
Very.
Yeah.
But what I showed her is
She's like, you
joy.
must have misunderstood me. You haven't planned the
Right. She's
vacation
like,
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
Somebody come get their
Yeah, because
niece
there's no way we went on 4 last year and you're saying budget better.
from little.
Right.
But the thing is, as a single mother,
Yeah.
I decided not that we were so much better, but I was like, look, girl, if I'm going because I need this break, you probably need one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize, even in my hurt and my grief,
Mm-hmm.
I was showing her how to show up and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I was modeling it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say.
She absolutely shows up in this world. I mean,
Yes.
she's tall.
Right.
She's
Statuesque.
beautiful. You can't miss her.
Yes.
Right. So I love that. I love that you have taken leadership even on how she shows up in the world.
Absolutely.
So mom was the first role. You're 9 to 5.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. So you're in a C-suite now,
I am.
but as of May, you've been doing this for 30 years.
May 17th, 1995, I started
Mm-hmm.
my career and my journey in librarianship. Because,
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do in a library, you're a librarian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, May 17th,
So
1995.
30 years in librarianship.
Yes.
What has that looked like for you?
Oh my, what has it not looked for? I mean, again, I have had the opportunity to grow and thrive in ways that people probably don't believe,
Yeah.
that people are impressed by,
Mm-hmm.
people are frustrated by,
Yeah.
people, I had wonderful mentors.
Okay.
Okay. And one of them in particular is and I have to name her. This is Phyllis G. Mack. She was the regional librarian. I started at the New York Public Library, and she was the regional librarian who embraced me for exactly who I was.
Yeah.
And I think it was in that moment that that woman embraced me and let me know that it was okay. Did she had to do some refining? Let's be clear. Little, a little sass, a little rough around the edges, but she accepted me for who I was.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment that I accepted myself, and I decided I was not going to show up any other way except authentically.
Yeah. So she accepted you for who you are. Who are you?
Oh, I am sass or frass. I am sarcastic. I am loving. I am giving. I'm very generous. I am very honest. I show up for people
Yeah.
in all ways. Um, I would say the people who I've worked with along the years can say, oh, she's tough, but she's fair.
Yeah.
I'm empathetic, but I also don't BS me.
Yeah.
This is not why we're here, right? Like sometimes I like to see how far people go, and then we talk about it. But I am a complete woman who loves herself, who loves her family, who loves to spend time. Oh my goodness, traveling. Traveling is one of the hobbies that I love, and shopping. Just throw shopping in there just a little bit. But just loving on myself and taking the time.
Okay. I love that. So back to this librarianship thing, because
Yes.
anything that you do for 30 years, you have to love. And anything that you do this long and achieve the level of excellence that you've achieved, you have to love it. So, favorite books.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's start with one of my favorite people in the world is Maya Angelou. Now, poetry wasn't always my thing, but let me tell you something about Maya, the way she spoke. I connected with that woman in so many ways.
Yeah.
I don't show up, and this is why people are put off by me. I am a large, dark-skinned woman with strong features and this sass and this confidence. Who do you think you are? I am Tiffany Yvette Alston. That is exactly who I am. Heavy on the Yvette. Okay? And my sister named me. My older sister tried to name me Tiffany Taylor. And my mother was like, well, you get the Tiffany, but I get the middle name.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Desi got her Tiffany Taylor because what is my daughter's name?
Taylor, right.
She got her Tiffany Taylor.
She got what she wanted, right.
So a nod to, right? So I'm thoughtful in everything that I do.
Yeah.
And my daughter is the first girl, so,
Okay, yes.
the first granddaughter. So I have a ton of nephews, like all these boys, and then here comes this thing. Spoiled. But yeah, that's.
Yeah. I was just holding on to the thought of Maya Angelou being such a pivotal person in your life because she's also one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
And we talk about that often. Like you had to be talented back then to not have pretty privilege to ride on.
Yes.
And whatever that looked like for society. Because not to say that she wasn't a looker, but she didn't lean on her looks.
That's right.
Right? So once again, to do anything that long, you have to do it and be skilled and be and show excellence. So what's your second? You didn't say a book. You said
So
an
I was
author.
gonna say
Okay.
I did say my poet, but
Yeah.
I know why the cage birds sing, so that's why I brought up Maya. That was something that I had to read when I was young, and I reread it again as older, and I understood it differently.
Is it on one of the banned lists now?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
banned books, girl. We could sit and talk all day
Yeah.
about banned books, but yes, of course it is,
Yeah.
right? Another one is so I had the pleasure of being a part of accountability group over these last few years since I've been down here in the DMV, and we read The Artist's Way.
Okay.
And The Artist's Way has helped me in so many ways. And that was about maybe 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
And The Artist's Way is about breaking your life up. I'm just going to sum it up like this: breaking your life up in quarters, in 4 quarters, and each 12 weeks is a year.
Yep.
So setting goals and reaching those goals. I have been able to do that model for the last few years, even without, I still reread the book,
Yeah.
but even without being a part of the accountability group, because it was so pivotal. The journaling, the reflection, the really digging deep with myself. And I had the opportunity to do this with a group of 6 women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites. I mean, of course.
And once again, another book that was written 30 years ago, right? It fell into our hands after 30 years. And it was just like something that, because of the times, it felt like it was what we needed then, but it felt like it had just been written then too.
Right.
Like every time we got to a new section, it was just like, how did she know this 30
Back.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
Listen, I'm an
right?
old soul
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's funny that I lean on wisdom. I
Yeah.
lean on I feel like I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors,
Yeah.
and I listen.
Yeah.
I listen to discernment. I try. There's often times where I can't explain why I feel the way I feel, and it's discernment. It's
Yeah.
just it's intuition.
Yeah. So, who knows why the cage bird sings?
Yes,
The
the
artist's
artist's
way.
way.
Give me one more.
Let's see. Do I want to go to Shelley, to Michelle Obama? And why? And I love, first of all, I love Michelle Obama. Like I called her Shelley, like she knows who I am. I have been to her Becoming.
Yeah.
Is one of my favorites. I have it in print and I have it on audiobook. And I went to her tour.
Yeah.
Where Ellen DeGeneres was
her narrator.
Was her moderator. I felt my heart was so full to be able to be in a space with this woman who I admire so much.
Yeah.
Why? The first African American woman in the White House.
Yeah.
And she had to, when everybody else went low, she went high.
Right.
Oh my goodness. You know how hard that is?
I assume it's really hard.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I'm
me
a work
too.
in progress.
I'm going to tell you exactly how hard it is one day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we know. But so that would be my third. Like, I love a lot of things, but I also love when someone tells their real story and they are honest about who they are. And she always showed up.
Yeah.
Right? She showed up for herself. She showed up for her family. She showed up for the nation.
Yeah. So we have your favorite books. You were just speaking on when talking about the artist way. We were talking about like you following your intuition. So let's take a leap and jump into faith. Yeah. What does that look like for you?
That's very interesting. I would consider myself more spiritual than anything. I have been going to church from a young lady. Sat in church with my mother. There's always going to be a funny story as I think about things. I remember my mother telling the story. I mean, to this moment, she probably hovering over now, rolling her eyes. Because she said that we were in church one day. It was Easter, as a matter of fact, as Easter is coming up. And this little girl rolled her eyes. So I rolled my eyes. So she rolled her eyes twice. So I rolled it 3 times. And my mother is she's like, I'm looking, I could strangle. We're in church. And she's like, I had to like finally pinch you because you were going to keep going. She's like, why is my child like this? That is the only thing that I can give you that can demonstrate who I am. I am consistent. Every space that I go in. So I have a hard time finding a church home that fits me because when I feel or get the sense that people aren't who they say they are, or they don't show up the way that is authentic, then that makes me just a little. It turns my stomach a little bit.
That's so funny. I love church probably for all of the wrong reasons, right? I like the theatrics of it.
Oh yeah,
I do.
It's a show,
and that's probably why, towards the end I was playing the roles that I was playing because I needed to add a little bit of that. Like I liked
Mm,
to frame it the way that it was framed because in my mind, church was all about the theatrics,
mm.
right? Like so a good Sunday for me was praise and worship was first and foremost on point, right? And then the pastor comes out and do what the pastor does, but somebody falls out, somebody
Oh
runs
yeah.
around, somebody like I was there for the
You
theatrics of it all, right? Like yes, because so much of my intimate relationship with God happens outside of the
That's right.
church. I could be there and enjoy the
Oh, that's the
sister
show.
so
The
and so
show.
is going to do this,
That
or I can. Or when I was younger, Miss Vicky was blind. She was a blind lady on the choir and sung like an angel. I had never heard anybody sing like that. But it was something about her being blind. And I remember thinking, like, God doesn't miss out on blessing
mm,
anybody
mm.
in a special way, right? And I was young thinking that. Like, it's so many people who have vision in this church that wish they could sing the way she did,
Say it again.
right? And Miss Vicky voice was so pretty that it sounded like an instrument,
And it was.
right? And and she was just she was the sweetest lady. But I remember like I said from a little girl being like, it's always gonna be something in life that we wish we could have that we don't have, and something that we have that somebody else is gonna wish that we could have, right?
Listen, that's
So
the big behind that I always wanted and I don't have. So I understand.
listen, and the people are getting rid of their big behinds these days. So once
Yeah.
again, to your point, to our point,
Right.
right? Like we wish we have it if we don't. But so you rolling your eyes in church, but faith. What does faith mean to you?
So faith means to me, every morning I wake up and I do a daily devotion.
Mhm.
Well, before we get there, every morning I pop my eyes open. I thank you, Lord,
Mhm.
because you did not have to wake me up.
Mhm.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And then I dive straight into devotionals,
Mhm.
where I take my time. I take my few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the moment in the day,
Yeah.
to read the word,
Mhm.
and to reconnect myself and ground myself. It really is a grounding,
Yeah.
right? So I actually do physical grounding. I'll go in my yard
Mhm.
and I walk around on the front yard
Yeah.
mostly. But the grounding starts from my heart.
Yeah.
So my faith is, listen, the faith of a mustard seed is real.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, the not knowing, the putting myself out there, me sitting here doing a podcast right now,
Mhm.
is the faith of a mustard
Mhm.
seed. You may not have known this, or you may know this. I hated my voice
Hmm.
for years,
Mhm.
especially growing up.
Mhm.
The cadence, the tone, the deep "hello, sir," and I'm like, "Ma'am."
Yeah.
And the fact that I am out here speaking on a podcast
Yeah. And in front of people several times
and
and
public
in
speaking,
public speaking, right? But then we land in rooms where we all have the same cadence. We
right?
all could be one time or another recognized as a male. It's so funny, right? Because we all think that we live these very, very different lives. And then you find your tribe and realize that you kind of all have lived in some way or another the
Mm-hmm.
same kind of thing, right? So I'm gonna leap. I'm gonna lean back into this faith thing one more time because losing your mom at 29 had to be hard, right? And then becoming a mom after she was gone, so her not being able to see your little one,
Mm-hmm.
the first girl of the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did you get through that?
Faith.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I cried most days of my pregnancy
Mhm.
because I miss my mom so much.
Yeah,
I was 31 when I had Taylor. My mother was 31 when she had me.
yeah.
My mom died at 60.
Mhm.
So I turned 32 later that year, but I was 31 years old and miss my mom so much. But I have my sisters. I have good girlfriends.
Yeah.
I'm talking about I have been blessed
Mhm.
in abundance
Mhm.
with good good friends.
Mhm.
I mean, family,
Mhm.
community,
Mhm.
village. All of those things are words that I don't throw around lightly because it's so meaningful to me.
Mhm.
And I would not be where I am without my village, my community, my family.
Mhm.
And I do not take that for granted
Yeah.
in any way. So losing my mom and raising my baby on faith, there were times where that's all I had. I didn't even know how I was going to do this. How am I going to be a mother?
Yeah.
Why did God trust me with this little girl? What am I supposed to do with her?
Mhm. Mhm.
The first time that Taylor's dad left to go to work after Taylor was born,
Yeah.
I I looked around. I said, "You're leaving me here with this baby?" And he looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh my!" I mean, I cried. I called one of my good girlfriends.
Yeah.
I was living in Westchester at the time,
Mhm.
and she was in Harlem. Do you know? She got there. It felt like 20 minutes later. It probably was.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I talk about village, when
Yeah.
I talk about family, Taylor has been blessed. So yes, she doesn't have my mom
Yeah.
physically, but I know she has my mom's spirit.
Yeah.
Taylor understands that my mom used to love elephants.
Mhm.
We would be bumping into elephants,
Mhm.
and then she had a whole armoire, and everything is elephants.
Mhm.
Taylor has an elephant charm on
Mhm.
her Pandora bracelet.
Yeah.
When Taylor went to her homecoming, she wanted to wear my mother's elephant charm. She wants to be so connected to her
Yeah.
in every way, and I love that.
Yeah. Or she is connected
Or
to her.
oh my, and I know she whispers in her ear
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like,
And she's able to get a little piece of her from all of you.
yeah, well, we are Carol's daughters in every sense of the
Right.
word.
Right.
Okay,
Right. Right.
my mother used to be very Scorpio,
Mhm.
November 21st, and
Mhm.
she was quiet.
Mhm.
But then she wasn't.
Mhm. Mhm.
Very charismatic,
Yeah.
very very family, very very private, but very open.
Yeah.
And that's like a unique skill that I didn't realize at the time that I was absorbing.
Mhm.
I'm really gonna say I'm most like my mother, and I'm not saying that like to own it. I really,
No.
the older I get, and I say stuff, I'm like, Carol with an
We
E
are often joking about how Glendora and Carol comes out of us
regularly.
regularly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that is
Yeah. You live
like
long enough and you become,
Glenny.
you know? I mean, I always knew I looked like her, but I say things on a regular basis. And also, like, one of my friends, I can be on the phone, she'd be like, that was such your mother just now. And I'm just like, deal with it.
Yeah,
Because that's,
it's who you are. And listen, I tell
yeah.
you all the time, and I told you Sunday.
You,
I said, Glendora.
right.
Chianti may sound like her, but you are her.
You know, and I love that for me. Right? I love
Yes.
that for me. Okay, so we've touched on a lot of things.
Hmm.
We touched on a lot of the people in
Hmm.
your life. We talked about the transition from New York, DC to Baltimore, and 30 years in librarianship,
Yes,
which means even at this early age of yours, you could consider retirement soon if you
hmm,
wanted to.
I could.
What does that look like to you? Does that still look like, is Baltimore so much a part of your life now that you have, is this home at this point?
Baltimore is definitely home.
Yeah,
Um, there's a connection that I've always had to Baltimore.
yeah,
My sister came here 20 plus years ago at this point.
yeah.
After leaving college, she graduated from college. I think she had a brief stint in New York City, like maybe 3 to 6 months.
Ebony.
Ebony.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
the next thing you know, she was in Baltimore purchasing a home.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So we got everybody down here
j-
except Desi.
well, yeah, Desi. Sometimes, it's always one of us. But Desi's still connected. Desi waiting for her rancher.
Oh, okay.
She want a specific
Oh,
house.
okay.
She's like, I'm not doing all of these townhouses and 3 floors and y'all.
I love that she knows exactly when it's gonna happen.
She's like,
Yeah.
and she was like, and I want my rancher. So much so, she was like, I'll know when it's time. Okay. Um, but my connection to Baltimore started way before we lived here.
Okay.
I would visit when Taylor was, I was fortunate enough the first year of Taylor being here, I was able to take that year off of work
Okay.
and just spend time with her.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that is where our bond and connection
Yeah.
started. Just be again, it was just me. I'm like, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And we would come down here so often that Ebony's friends would be like, Tiff live here now? Because I mean,
Right.
I just came home from work and she here. So yeah, Baltimore will always be home.
Okay.
Baltimore to me is my second home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as a native New Yorker, I feel such a connection here, and I build a tribe and a village here,
Yeah.
and I'm deeply grateful for that.
Yeah. 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 All right, so we've talked about a little bit of everything. We've
Hmm.
talked about faith and religion. We've
Hmm.
talked about your favorite books. We've talked about your family. We've talked about your career.
Yes.
Well, we've talked about one part of your career. We've talked about how you never thought entrepreneurship could be a part of your plan. What do you love the most about coaching?
Goodness, I love to see people grow.
Mhm.
I love to see people thrive. I love to see people blossom
Mhm.
in coaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you plant a seed and then
Mhm.
you watch it blossom
Mhm.
into this beautiful flower
Mhm.
that people don't always know is there.
Mhm. Yeah.
And why I love it so much is because, yes, I've done some training, and yes, I am in the process of being certified,
Mhm.
but it's been natural. It's been something that I've been doing my whole life.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's such a calling.
Oh, my goodness. I
It's a
love it.
gifting, it's a
It
calling,
is a gift.
it's a responsibility.
Heavy.
It is a
It's heavy.
responsibility. It is not one of those things that you can take for granted.
And I don't.
Yeah. Um, I love that. How important do you think coaching is for other people?
Coaching is one of those things that if you don't do it, you can miss so many opportunities for
Yeah.
yourself, right? People often overlook it. It's not like therapy. It's like therapy, but it's not like therapy. Um, because coaching, I mean, so here are the similarities. You have to do your own work.
Yeah.
People often don't understand. They think that if they go to a coach, that the coach is going to give you the answers.
Mhm.
That is not why I'm here. What I'm here to do is to help you bring out the best in yourself.
Mhm.
I'm here to help you tap into
Yeah.
that what is already within you.
Mhm.
I'm here to help you build on yourself.
Yeah.
And so coaching is so important because without it, I wouldn't even be sitting here where I am. I've had an executive coach in my professional career.
Mhm.
And I embraced it.
Yeah.
Embraced it so much that the coach, I think they were like, oh, this sassy thing is not going to work. And by the end, my last session, you get a 6-month session for executive coaching.
Mhm.
And I think they kind of went in like, okay, she's all right, we'll see how this goes. By the end of it, my last session, he was like, and she's done this and she's grown. And I was like, yeah, what he said. Because I think
Yeah.
that he was even impressed at how serious I took coaching.
Yeah.
And it was from that and honestly, even in that moment, I didn't know I wanted to be a coach,
Mhm.
but it was from that moment that I understood the value
Mhm.
of coaching.
Yeah.
And I talk to everyone about it. Like, yeah, let me tell you about my journey. Because this is the other part. As I sit here with you all and I'm talking about this and we're on this podcast, let me explain something to you. Even though I'm reaching for the stars and I'm doing all the things and putting myself out there, when I tell you the challenges, the blows come,
Yeah.
I am fighting for my life every day,
Yeah.
making it look easy so much so that people get frustrated with me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about swinging.
And also, just let's be very honest. You have lived a life that hasn't come with
A silver spoon
a silver spoon
or ease.
or just a book, right, or a manual, right? We don't get one for parenting.
No.
We don't get one for black women in the C-suite,
At all.
right? We don't get one for executive coaching when we didn't even know that that was a thing for years, right? And other cultures and ethnic groups have been preview to it, but we didn't know,
Right.
right? So you're showing up in all of these spaces and being sometimes the first in your group, the first in your family, the first to
Yes.
do it, right? So just thinking about that, how important is visibility to you?
My goodness. So visibility has become so much more important to me because I value and love who I am.
Hmm.
In every space that I show up,
Yeah,
I'm a black woman first.
yeah,
This is not discounting anyone else,
yeah,
but I embrace who I am.
yeah.
You're going to see me before you hear me,
Hmm.
before I speak, before you know anything about me, you see black woman.
Hmm.
And so because of that, it's so important for me to help people navigate the workplace politics that we normally don't get to navigate because we have to be quiet because we
Yeah.
don't want to show up like the angry black woman.
Hmm.
So I help people navigate their worlds being able to speak to be heard.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm going to speak up. And yes, it may feel don't mistake my me being assertive
Hmm.
for aggressive because
Yeah.
of maybe how you feel
Hmm.
about yourself and again, I have to continue to go back to I'm 5'8",
Hmm.
a large black dark skin,
Hmm.
and I show up in spaces and I'm not what people consider
Yeah.
a librarian. Let's be clear.
Hmm.
When people see me, they do not see librarian. So to be the chief librarian,
Hmm.
to be the person who is overseeing 26 libraries, coordinating services,
Yeah.
uh, remarks at events,
Hmm.
speaking with authors, speaking with children, every space that I walk in, I
Hmm.
show up.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, and who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I am, the chief of public services." What does that mean?
Yeah.
And it means everything that you touch when you come into this space is I oversee
Right.
those spaces. And
You had
people are like,
you had to touch it first.
Yeah, yeah."
Right.
I oversee dynamic groups of individuals who do this work, who
Yeah.
lead the teams that do this work. I get the opportunity to do that.
Hmm.
And that's how I try to show up.
Yeah. So Tiffany Austin,
Yes.
what's next?
Ooh, what's next? So I have built my career on supporting individuals,
Hmm.
um, supporting their growth.
Hmm.
What's next is me focusing on Tiffany,
Hmm.
leaning into myself, um, putting myself out there in ways that I encourage others to do,
Hmm.
taking leaps and not playing it small.
Yeah. Big faith.
Big faith,
Hmm.
big man faith.
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
that's it. And what that looks like, I can't even tell you, but I know you'll be on this journey with me.
We shall see. We shall. I know I will be on a journey with you, but we shall see what's next.
Oh, we will see
Yeah.
what's next.
The ending. Thank you so much once again for giving me the privilege to start off quarter two of 2025. You know, we have seen several things happen in quarter one. It was interesting. But today proved that quarter two, and I believe going forward, is going to be such an amazing year.
Well, thank you for taking the time, to spend this. I don't take it lightly that you took time to spend with me and pour into me.
Yeah,
And so thank you, my Kia, for always being available, making yourself available, and for
absolutely.
supporting me.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning into What's Next. I hope today's conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a fresh perspective on life's transitions. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need a little bit more inspiration. For more stories and updates, follow me on IG, TikTok, and LinkedIn at The Chief Librarian. Until next time, stay bold, stay ready, and keep pushing towards what's next. I'm your host, the Chief Librarian.